All right, we're back.
Welcome back.
Oh, whoa, you're doing the intros now? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Welcome back. This is the FloTrack podcast. I'm Kevin. He's Gordon. How are you?
Well, Kevin, first of all, doing the podcast now only once a week is a little weird for us.
Yeah,
and
we stopped talking to me completely.
We've noticed it in our communication to each other
He's
later in the week.
cutting me out of his life, guys.
I'm not cutting you out of your life, my life. You're sending me these text messages, and I'm just thumbs upping them and not giving a back and full entry of what I'm talking about.
I'm not a big thumbs up guy.
You want me to heart it?
No. I'm not a good. I want, like, even just if it's a yeah or haha, the typed out haha so much more valuable to me than the automatic hold your thumb down and then select haha. I don't know why. It just means more.
I apologize.
Maybe a generational thing.
If I broke your heart over the weekend by my haha reactions and my thumbs up to your commentary about what happened this weekend, because you were sending me reactions to certain track results and I just wrote thumbs up or ha ha.
Yeah, that was it.
You wanted me to be more invested.
I was getting frozen. I was frozen.
I'm sorry. I apologize for not being as detailed in my text messages with you, Kevin. Okay. I think it's because we're not having 3 podcasts. We're only having one. True. So I'm kind of becoming less. But it makes the Monday podcast so much better because we have a whole week of conversation we could fit into an hour.
But the chemistry might be not as good because we're not as in rhythm.
Okay, so
I think that you hate me now. Before it was you thought I hated you. Total 180. Let's get going. Let's just start.
There's so much that happened.
Let's just work through it and see if it works. See if it goes well, and if it doesn't, we'll know. Nico will tell us, and they'll just say, guys, it's not working today.
And I have some things I want to talk about that are not on the Run a Show, which is safe for after.
You know who appreciates that? Nico appreciates that when you add stuff, and I also appreciate that.
So you're not prepared?
Yeah, I really like not being prepared before talking.
But I want to hear your genuine thoughts on things. I don't want you to have pre-written ideas about what I'm about to ask you.
Are you going to write it down so you remember, or it's in your head? Okay,
I'll say it at the end.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the Bermuda Grand Prix. We'll talk about the Yokohama Continental Tour because we had Fred Curley in it. Mostly talk about Fred Curley.
I thought you said Oklahoma.
No, Yokohama.
Oh, okay.
Did I pronounce that wrong?
I think you did a good job. I heard Oklahoma Continental Tour. I was like,
gotcha.
Oh, you.
And then we're going to do some previews. And we'll do some previews from pretty far out and take those with...
Which is the challenge of doing a Monday podcast.
You got to look at the start list and you have to make this guess of which ones are actually going to hold. What can I say about this race that I'm confident will be true? Not the result. I'm talking about just who ends up on the start line in 5 or 6 days.
That's the feat in itself, predicting the start list.
Yeah.
So not predicting the winner. Predicting the start list is the real... It's the real game.
Yeah. How many can you get right? See, that would be a fun game, but the problem is the meets wait too long to even release them. But if they gave you the month out one and then you had a little pool on the side with your buddies of who would actually end up on the start list, that could be pretty fun. But the problem is you get them 6 days out and then there's 2 scratches. It's like, oh, that's not exciting. But we got the Rabat Diamond League. You have the LA Grand Prix. And then we'll talk about Athing Mu, potential 8:15 double, which... If we were still on 3 shows a week, that might have been the 4th. We might have done an emergency 4th show. We might have made Nico come back to the studio because, you know me. How do I feel about doubles?
You love the doubles.
I love doubles. Almost as much as I love schedules.
I have thoughts on it, though, which is safe.
Okay. Is that going to be one of your...
Maybe.
Well, no, it's already written down, the rundown. You want to talk about qualifying procedures for World Championships?
Bro.
Real exciting stuff.
All right, stop it.
Is this going to be a 3-hour pod?
Let's just talk. Let's start with Bermuda.
All right, hit it.
Men's 100. Christian Coleman, Noah Lyles on the start line. This is now, I mean, I know Coleman won the race. Good, fast time. It was into a big tailwind, 4.4 tailwind, but it's still a good time even with that tailwind. I think Christian Coleman's mark, if you guys know I love conversions. If you convert all of the headwinds and tailwinds run this year, it's the second best 100-meter performance behind Omanyala's world lead.
You did the math.
I did the math.
Good.
So it is legit the second best time of the year, even with the tailwind. But more importantly, Noah Lyles in that race was running Coleman down. Now Coleman did pull up. Coleman was looking to his left while Lyles was on his right. But seeing that Lyles performance got me very excited for his potential in this 100 because this was the first time I think all year that Lyles has put together a I can medal at the World Championships in the 100 performance. We saw him lose to a high schooler. We saw him have kind of weird indoor races, right? The race against Bromell, the pulling out of USA's due to injury, all these different things. This was the first time Noah Lyles was like, hey, guys, when it comes to it in August, I may be the guy who can pull off the double.
With the wind being what it was, I look at head-to-heads here. And who else in this race did they beat that's a really quality win? And you look at the person who got third, Akeem Blake, who we updated the rankings last week on the 100. I had Akeem Blake 6. I actually had him ahead of Christian Coleman. I didn't have Lyles in the top 10. And the reason was...
Just shows how bad you are with your rankings.
Well, that could be one takeaway. The other takeaway would be you have Osama Singh out there who beat him.
Yeah.
I mean, and Osama Singh is great. We know how good he is. But this is who I had. Curley, Omanyala, Seville, Bromell, Bednarik, Akeem Blake, Coleman, Bracey, Simbine, Asinga. That's a really good 10 without having Lyles in there. That doesn't even include Marcel Jacobs. That doesn't even include some of the like Terrence Jones isn't in there. So he was rightfully, I think, out of the top 10. Now, I think he's moved into the top 10. The question is, what are we going to be saying about this race in 4 weeks' time? Is this a USA's preview, or is this a battle for a little bit farther down on the list? I just love how diametrically opposite these guys run their hundreds.
Oh, yeah.
So much. They always do it. Nothing has changed. I know Coleman's worked on the back half and Lyles has worked on the start, but it seems like any progress that they make is just counterbalanced. It's outweighed by the other person getting even stronger at their own personal strength. Like Coleman just becomes a better starter, and Lyles becomes even better
at closing
at 50 to 100.
Yeah, watching Coleman and Lyles run 100, where one is a really good starter, one's a really good closer. It's like imagine watching a 400 where both athletes are running in the opposite direction. Because you know, like, oh, they're coming towards each other. Now they're chasing, like when you do the run the bases, when people run on opposite sides. That's what it feels like, because you see like a big lead for Coleman and then a big close for Lyles, and it's like kind of fun. It's like, whoa, it's like a seesaw action, which it's good. Lyles, the one thing Lyles got going for him is the way he runs it is more entertaining, right? Because you know, like, it's so much cooler to watch someone get someone at the line than for someone to hold someone off, right?
Well, I think what you also could say is something that he has going for him is he's clearly not dependent on the start. So if he gets the start, it's house money. Now, starting isn't luck. Starting is a skill. Starting is something that's honed and practiced and stuff like that. But you also can stumble out of the blocks. And I feel the advantage Lyles has is he never thinks he's out of the race. Now, credit to Coleman, right? Coleman did not have a great year last year, and Coleman talked about how he just needed more races in his legs to get ready. Now, I wouldn't put either of these two guys ahead of Fred Curley, but I think they're both in really good position to qualify. It's really just going to depend on the Bs, Bromell, Bednarik, Baker, and Bracey. That's what it's going to come down to. Like, how good are those four? Because Baker ran pretty well early. It was under the radar. Bednarik ran a really good 100, beat Bracey, but lost to Omanyala. And we know Bromell has it. We know he can get to a level that few guys have gotten to before. It's still going to be ridiculously hard to make this 100-meter team.
I'm not even thinking about 100-meter team. We shouldn't be thinking about Noah trying to make the 100-meter team. If Noah is Noah, he's not trying to make the team. He's trying to
step one, though.
Win gold.
That's step one, though.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel
how many people in American track and field history have won a gold medal without qualifying for the team? Zero.
No, people who have buys.
True.
He's done it.
And the 200 will be fine.
Yeah, he'll be 200.
We talk about that in the 200, but 100 he's got to make the team.
Well, it's just interesting looking at the descending order list from last year's at Worlds. Fred Curley, gold. He's running well. We'll talk about him later in this podcast.
Yeah.
Marvin Bracey, second, hasn't really done much. He's run one 10:03 race. He's still there's a
I'm
question
also
mark.
not worried about him
There's
because he
a
doesn't
question
run
mark.
that much.
You got to admit, there's a question mark though.
Sure, yeah.
Because other people have run.
Right.
Bromell, there's a question mark. He ran great indoors, but he hasn't run anything outdoors.
Yeah.
So that's a question mark. Seville, not as much a question mark.
No, I'm not worried about Seville. No.
And then Simbine, he's been kind of running consistent.
Yeah, he's always solid.
Coleman was 6. He's just running really well. And then Sonny Brown and Aaron Brown, who are kind of just like, you just look at the top 8 guys in the world last year, there's a lot of holes, I feel like, in the 2nd, the 3rd, the 7th, and the 8th spot where
maybe.
I
Okay,
like
so you're saying that's where Lyles can slot in, and that's where Coleman can move up? Is that what you're
before it seemed like, how are someone going to break up Curley, Bracey, and Bromell? Well, when Bracey and Bromell aren't running much,
Yeah.
It's easier to imagine the breakup happen.
Right. But that's why I'm saying step one is just getting on the – once he gets on the team, then the odds of medaling are just going to shoot up. Or sorry, the odds of getting a gold are just going to shoot up. Because then it's so much of the competition.
Are you saying so once he gets qualified to Worlds, he's going to have a higher chance of getting gold medals as opposed to not qualifying for Worlds?
Well, let's contrast him.
Yes, he's going to go from a 0% chance to more than a 0%.
He doesn't have a 0% chance right now. Do you know let me tell you someone who has a 0% chance right now. Philadelphia 76ers of winning the 2023 NBA title. That's an example of 0% chance. He doesn't have a 0% chance now. He has a shot. I'm comparing him to someone from another country who their battle to get a gold isn't predicated on making the team, is what I'm saying. By virtue of him making the team, that means he's going to knock out 2 or 3 legitimate contenders because they're not running anymore. They're out, at least when it comes for the gold. Now, he's still going to have to beat Curley plus 2 others, and then plus whatever the rest of the world offers up, and you went through a rundown. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, he gets a step closer. His odds are going up, but I'm saying they're going to shoot up at that point.
So are we being disrespectful for doing this entire segment around the guy who got second and not Coleman who won?
Well, no, I think Coleman's stock improved too. That's what I said. I thought this was a good win for Coleman, but I think you measure the win on Coleman based on how good you think Lyles is going to be. Now, Lyles was good indoors, right? We had him early season, top 10, top 8, whatever in the world. I think the win over Akeem Blake, I think, is significant. What I want to ask you is, though, do you see this right now as, is it Fred Curley and then like a little bit of a gap and then everybody else, or is this just all one big mess?
I think it's all one big mess.
Okay.
I think Omanyala's running so well. There's a bunch of guys. I think it's all one big mess. Let's keep this mess going. What's the other topic that happened on Bermuda?
Bermuda, we also had women's high hurdles. That was fun. Again, windy. Everything in Bermuda is windy now for the second year running. It's just going to be like that. Jasmine Camacho Quinn, 12:17, plus 3.5. It was cool. If you watch the video, she runs a race, and then she has this shocked look on her face, and you can read her lips, clear as day. Wait, was that legal? She's about ready to be like so pumped up that was legal, and it would have been number 2 all time. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Still one of the fastest hurdle performances ever. Remember, Amasan had the win legal one and the windy one back-to-back at World Championships. But we're talking about the hurdles more a little bit later because there's a really good high hurdle race at the LA Grand Prix. But I was impressed by Camacho Quinn in the highs. And then in the 2, Steiner, 22:06. Again, the field, it didn't have Shrika Jackson in it, didn't have Gabby Thomas, didn't have the top people that we think are going to be battling for the medals in Budapest. But a big name out there, getting a solid win. And I guess we talked last year, I think, a bit about Tamari Davis being under the radar. She got another win. Again, wasn't against the biggest names there, but wind legal 1091 with a plus 2.0.
Yeah, and the 200, we're still waiting for, I don't know.
Shrika ran this weekend too.
The way the 200 has been the past few years, where you're seeing many women running 21 high to 21 mid, I'm just like, you're kind of taking for granted 22.0s. Like, because you're like, 22.0, that's cool. That's not going to make a final though, right? And so while Abby does run 22.06, you're thinking like, well, it's going to take like 21.6, 21.5 to win gold, right? And the same thing with Sha'Carri when she ran her 22.07. It was number 2 in the world at the time. But, you're thinking like, well, you're still going to have to go to a whole new level, which is what the Jamaicans are at, which is what Gabby Thomas was at in 2021. Yep. So, I don't know. The 200s, I'm still not getting too excited about it. So it's a good win for Abby, but it's still not like, watch out. I still think we have yet to see the true form of what the 200 is going to be. Like Julian Alford's going to go out and run like 21.7 in like 2 weeks.
We were spoiled last year.
Yeah, we were spoiled, but
year of the 200. Remember it won?
Yeah.
Track thing of the year.
It won track of the year.
Track event.
Not even event. The track thing of the year.
Yeah.
The women's 200.
It transcended any singular person, any singular meet.
It was good.
It was the 200.
It's hard for me to get excited about 22.0s. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's fair. I just think that event, I don't want to jinx it, but it doesn't seem like there's any way it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be good no matter what.
You just jinxed it.
Sorry.
You just ruined the event.
My apologies. Tara Davis won the long jump over Quenisha Burks, 7:11 to 7:04.
Final jump too.
Yeah, last one. That was clutch. Some 4x1s, but ultimately solid meet in Bermuda. think we touched on the big stuff. I want to go back to the 100 though, and talk about Yokohama. And talk about Curly. 991. It's his 100-meter debut. He's running all over the world. He's in Australia.
World Tour.
He's in Doha. He's the Fred Curly World Tour is upon us. So he goes 988 prelim, 991 in the final. I disagree with something you said earlier. I think there's a gap right now between Curly and everybody else in the 100. It's not a large gap. It's not an insurmountable gap, but he's just running with so much confidence. He's clearly healthy. This was after 2 callbacks too, the 991. They had to reset a couple times. That's not very fun, but he still went out there, got the job done. I think we're going to be looking at a sub 9.8 Curly again come midsummer.
Is it a little bit, though, fool's gold, potentially? Because he is running all over the place, but you look at the field that he had in Australia.
Oh no, Gordon's down. Here's what Gordon's gonna say. I'm gonna. It's like you look at the
Fred
field.
Curly's like saying, "Don't you dare say that, Gordon."
No, what Gordon's gonna say is, you look at the field. It's not. Not as good as
Australia field, the Yokohama's field. They're not.
Doha field's good. Right?
Who's in Doha field?
That was the 2, right? Yeah. Kenny B.
Those are 2.
Yeah.
Those are 2 though.
Yeah, I'm just saying overall.
In the 100, though.
My point is, he's willing to fly everywhere and run a bunch of races. He's not worried about health. He's not worried about fitness.
No, yeah.
He's not worried about losing. He's running with supreme confidence right now, which is what I would
Yes,
like.
and he's creating his floor of basically bronze is his floor, I think.
Yeah. It's just hard to imagine
Which is
right
crazy
now
that your floor is bronze. Yeah. That means you are no one else has a higher floor than Curly.
Yeah.
The question is, I think, though, he doesn't have that much of a lead, I don't think, on the Omanyalas and whoever other U.S. guy comes into the mix. If Coleman or Lyles get it together perfectly, like, I don't think he's like completely separated himself from the pack.
Yeah, but
the pack is still right on his tail.
I think there's a little gap. I do, and there's no way to prove this.
I think Omanyala would beat him if they raced tomorrow.
Oh, I disagree. Strong disagree. I think. Well, where's the race? Is it in Kenya? then I'm with you probably. But if it's in the U.S. or anywhere else,
keep in mind, Omanyala maybe could have won global gold last year.
You're going that far with it. I don't think he was there yet. I think he would have done better. Would have made the final if he didn't have the travel.
I think he would have won.
But I still think Curly's ahead of everybody internationally, and I think in the U.S. There's just so we just went through on the rest of the U.S. side all the questions we have about everybody. You just don't have that many questions about Fred Curly. You know what he's going to bring, and he's just
Omanyala did beat Curly last year
in
regular season in Kenya.
Yeah, I'm saying he's awesome.
He's got him
awesome in Kenya. He's awesome. Home track advantage. But right now, I'm taking Curly versus the world.
No one can beat Omanyala in Kenya.
Right now, if
Bolt couldn't beat Omanyala in Kenya.
No, not even current Bolt. Peak Bolt couldn't beat.
There we go.
That's a take. There we go.
I mean, I would believe it because peak Bolt would be like, whatever.
Can you imagine how loud that crowd would be? They already were super loud just for Omanyala. If peak Bolt just walked in somehow, we were able to create that. Just Omanyala's just there shushing for 10 minutes before the race starts.
Oh, man. I mean, it's been less than 365 days when I said Curly was going to break the world record.
I know, and now you're off of him, and I'm all about it now.
It's crazy how track works.
It's weird. It's almost you can't stick with a pig.
I'm not off of him winning gold this year. I'm not even off of him breaking the American record this year. I just think that, Omanyala's he's running pretty quickly, and I think Curly is not in his final form, and I think Curly is going to be better 2 months from now.
Yeah.
But I still think maybe Omanyala would beat Curly tomorrow, maybe not 2 months.
I just want to see Omanyala in a Diamond League against stacked field. That's what I want to see. Curly, we've seen that. We know how it's going to go at this point. But we'll get more on that. We'll talk more Diamond Leagues at the end. We're literally going to see that in Rabat.
Omanyala and Curly?
Dude, this is man. Diamond League Rabat, they're bringing it this year.
Bringing it.
Are they the new Monaco?
Dude, what if Omanyala beats Curly in this race?
Yeah, then you win the bet. We should bet something.
I've lost so much to you, it's not even funny.
And you lost so much on another.
Yeah, I lost $1,000 on the Sixers. So
you should have cashed out, man.
Should have. I could have cashed out at like $4K.
That's what I said.
And I didn't do it.
Okay.
When they swept Brooklyn, when they won Game 1 against Boston, they were like.
What was it after Game 5? Wasn't it really high still?
It was probably high. It was even higher. Yeah, actually after Game 5 was the highest.
That's when I said.
Yeah, it was like
then you just
3,900.
You could have lost and then won. I mean, it would be. This is, sorry, I'm doing a little aside here for Rabat. Johan Blake, Trayvon Bromell, Andre DeGrasse, Marcel Jacobs, Fred Curley, Omanyala, Simbine, and Tobogo.
That's basically the world. That's like 80% of the world final.
Yeah. We're going to get some questions answered. Next week's pod's going to be great.
Be someone who gets dead last in that race who's going to get third at the Worlds.
Sure. But I mean, for right now, we're talking about the 100 race you want to most see right now. Is that one right there. It's Curley versus Omanyala, which is funny because this whole thing was billed as Curley versus Jacobs.
Yeah, no, it's Curley or Omanyala.
Yeah,
and Bromell in a way because we haven't seen Bromell.
Yeah, I think he's going to be at a disadvantage just because it's his first race of the season and he's just jumping right into the deep end. But yeah, Curley v. Omanyala. Tobogo's been running really well. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay, so
Sorry.
Way out of order. You're going to follow your own run a show here?
Well, when you told me you were going to add things to the run a show, I just figured that meant all bets are off. It's just we're going potpourri. Go ahead.
Going what?
Potpourri, a little bit of everything, you know.
Potpourri. Going potpourri? That stuff not free. People don't say we're going potpourri
No,
today.
they don't. I just made that up.
Okay.
You're welcome.
No one likes to say, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know. We're going to go a little potpourri.
All right.
We're talking about LA Grand Prix. Speaking of potpourri, the LA Grand Prix. Why do they call these meets Grand Prix?
Right. They used to do that, then they went away from it, and now it's coming back. It's just like when every running club had to be a project for a while there. There was like a 15-year stretch when, Nike Oregon project and then everything project.
Why is it? What does Grand Prix even mean?
Well, it's a series of races, right?
Great prize.
Oh, you mean the literal translation?
Yeah, it means great prize.
Yeah, but they use it like in car racing and stuff. The Grand Prix.
Yeah. So this is the LA Great Prize.
All right, let's move on. Go ahead. Actually, I'll lead this. You have not proven yourself capable of managing this segment. So
hey, I did the whole podcast.
I was trying to
solo when you were sick last week.
Oh, well, I was here.
Yeah.
No, I just made weird noises with my mouth. I was still here.
And I made a lot of mistakes.
I was going to let you cook. I know, I made a highlight reel. I was going to let you cook.
Yeah.
But now I'm not going to let you cook anymore.
Okay.
You're done cooking.
Okay.
All right, a lot of superstars here. Krauser, Mondo, etc. There's a couple races I want to talk about. Let's start first. Now, this is as of Monday. We don't know who's going to make their way to the start line eventually, but as of Monday, women's 100, Toulouse, Richardson, Hobbs, and Terry. That is going to be a great one. You got Toulouse running really well this year. Obviously, we've seen what Richardson's done with the wind-aided 10.5 and change, and then also the really smooth, controlled, comfortable, relaxed 200 that she ran. But Toulouse has been really solid. We've seen Hobbs run well. What are your expectations for this women's 100-meter race?
Well, I'm excited for Hobbs versus Richardson. I feel like Hobbs is the one runner that Sha'Carri hasn't raced on the U.S. side that can really show the true litmus test. I think while Sha'Carri's basically having a perfect season up to this point, this will be her first real test about whether or not she's going to be the U.S. favorite. Because Aaliyah Hobbs, as you know, she won U.S. indoors. She's been running well all the way from last year. She's been consistently finishing 1 or 2, and I think she's won every race she's run this year, right? Is she undefeated this year?
I'm going to look that up. I think so.
It's just like Hobbs has been doing her own little Hobbs tour. Richardson has been doing the Richardson tour, and now the tours are clashing in LA for a great prize, aka the Grand Prix. But
Hobbs,
I think
Hobbs undefeated. You're right.
She's undefeated. So yeah, this will be the first chance for Richardson to be like, no ifs, ands, or buts. I am the number 1 U.S. sprinter. Because I could see a world where Richardson is just the undisputed number 2 sprinter in the U.S. and Hobbs just happens to be number 1. But if Richardson does beat Hobbs, then no ifs, ands, or buts. Richardson is the favorite.
And listen, don't count out Toulouse. Toulouse is a veteran. Toulouse has been running really well. She's going to come to play in this race too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to get third.
I think if everybody's at their best, like given this point of the season, I think Richardson's got that higher gear, that higher level right now. But I think Toulouse could get this as well too. You laid out the stakes though pretty well. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
This is my argument. You ready for the argument?
Yeah, don't say I would argue. Just argue it.
It is better for Richardson's next 3 months for her to lose this race to Hobbs, to get second to Hobbs. Because I feel like if she gets, because right now there's not Richardson's like she shows up, everyone is cheering for her. It's perfect. She's winning every race dominantly. It's like been kind of, except for that 200, but like whatever.
Yeah, people forgot about that immediately.
Yeah, we forgot. Yeah, except Kayla White, she hasn't forgotten. She's gonna.
I wouldn't either.
She's rewatched it on YouTube every day.
I would.
But Richardson's having kind of like a perfect season, and I think if she were to lose to Hobbs, it's gonna keep that spark of like, hey, not getting complacent, not just assuming I got the bag, it's good, because then she can go into USA's knowing like, all right, I got to be locked in for USA's, because we know the past few USA's, or not past few, the first one and the third one, she wasn't locked in as much, right? She didn't do well as a true freshman out of LSU, makes sense, long season. And then last year, we thought like, hey, what's going on, right? 2021, she was locked in, but then stupid marijuana law screwed that up. But I just want to make sure, I think a way to keep Richardson locked in for USA's is for her to go into USA's with a loss to Hobbs and be like, all right, you got me at LA Grand Prix, I'm going to get you at USA's.
You're doing the whole team sports thing where the coach says it's
yeah,
better
hungry dogs run faster. She needs to become a hungry dog.
Well, I think she's motivated by the last couple of years too, and not being able to get to those global championships certainly is a motivating factor. Also, not just with her, but with other athletes, there's just a different mindset when it comes to good for me in this race is just winning versus good for me in this race is coming up with a transcendent performance. And if she, the more she runs and the more she wins and the faster she runs, the expectations, they don't go away.
Yeah.
They just go up and up and up. And what happens when you lose, sometimes then you go into USA's or you go into a Diamond League type meet and you're just like, man, forget the time. Who cares? Let's just see if they can beat that field. And I think that is a different approach that people have. Like we saw for years and years, Bolt. How many times were just like, Bolt would run a 9.8 and everybody like, all right, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Because everybody was just comparing him to transcendent performance. Now, she's not to the Bolt level, obviously. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying when you have these athletes who are like on the cusp of putting down some legendary times, the natural reaction is just to always just compare them and just forget about the field. Yeah. And I think what snaps that back is like, oh, no, wait, hold on. There's somebody else here who's in this race. There's a couple people in this race who could win it. So let's define success as just getting a victory and moving on.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking long term for Sha'Carri. And I think she wants to win global gold this year. And my twisted brain says getting second in this race increases her odds of getting global gold, which makes no sense. And I get it. If I was her coach, I would be the worst coach in the history of coaching, saying, "Hey, lose."
No, it's not. Win. It's not lose on purpose. It's just like you want the competition to raise their game.
Yeah,
yeah.
And like when I
guess it depends on how you lose too.
Yeah,
because in team sports, the coach isn't saying we want to get beat 63-0 on week 3, and that's good for us. That was great. I'm glad they scored all those touchdowns. It's the way.
We need the Tim Tebow moment where Tim Tebow lost in week whatever.
Man, you're really dating yourself with these references.
You know what I'm talking about? Not. I'm not dating myself. That's a very normal reference.
It's a long time ago. Now,
is it?
You got to re-up it, man.
It's like 2006.
You know what year it is?
2023. That is a long time ago.
Yeah. I don't even know if it was 2006.
2006, 07, or 08.
Because your mind gets frozen in that time.
But he has a great speech where he's like, "I will never," and then they go on to win the national championship.
Yeah. The men's 100 at the LA Grand Prix is good too. We're going to see Coleman again versus Aaron Brown. Aaron Brown's been really solid. Also, Crevant Charleston ran really well early season, and then I mentioned him earlier in the show, Ronnie Baker. So this is actually a solid field. Like the Rabat field's obviously going to get way more attention globally, but this has a guy who has a world championship gold medal and has a lot of people who could battle for spots for Team USA, and someone like Aaron Brown who's always around on Diamond Leagues. So women's 100 is going to get more attention, as it should, but I think the men's 100 is pretty solid as well, too.
I feel like you're getting paid by the meet director there because I don't think this men's 100 is that interesting.
I think it's interesting. Well, you're not as sophisticated as I am. You're just only looking at like the top 5 or 10 people in the world. You got to go a little bit deeper. Like, look how well Charleston's run this year. Baker on the come up, got a 9.83 season.
All Charleston's runs are wind dated.
So?
You tell me I don't look deep? I fucking know what Charleston's doing.
Whoa.
Do you know what college you went to?
NC State. Chill. Stay over there. I'll stay over here. Because he's wind dated, it makes it interesting. Can he do it if there's not that much wind? Will it be windy? All the big questions. You don't think that's a pretty good field considering there's a Diamond League that has that
That's
took
the
everybody.
field.
Right, but this is good compared to that.
Sure. All right, it's good, but
It's not good compared to that, but it's good taking into the consideration that.
I don't know. If I had to do a draft.
Yeah, you're not drafting at 1, which is why we didn't talk about it first.
Yeah, you're drafting at 2, though.
I'm not drafting.
You're drafting in the Kevin Durant spot.
I'm just scrolling. Okay, you want to watch that? Men's 2, Kenny B.
Yeah, that's good.
So you do want to. Go ahead. Have your Kenny B moment.
Men's and women's too.
Then go.
The 200.
I just was gonna do a 100 thing. I was gonna pair it together, and you just completely ruined it. But go ahead.
You say I ruin everything, and I don't. All right, so men's 2, Kenny B, who is going to win 2023 Global Gold in the 200, going up against Ogando, who had a really good breakout season last year. Hasn't really run too much. He's finished like 3rd or 4th in a couple of the races so far. But I'm really excited to see Kenny B go up against Jareem Richards. I think Richards is like a very like solid. He's always going to make a world final type guy. And I feel like, hey, it's not really going to be about the win. I think this is going to be the race for Kenny B to go out there and run 19.7 and then be like, oh, okay, he put up a fast time. I think this is going to be a fast time race, not a got the win race.
All right.
So 19.7 or bust. If Kenny B doesn't run 19.7,
you keep raising the stakes on it. You're like, he needs to win that race, and then Curly beat him, and I thought, hey, he looks pretty good. You're just perpetually
you're
just building up your hopes and be disappointed. You got to be even keel. You got to be in this for the long haul. If you're gonna make a pick like that, you got to stick with it. All right, you want to do the women's too as well?
Yeah. Apparently, one of the top 3 400-meter runners in the world, Gabby Thomas, is in this race because not many people are running 49 seconds.
That's true.
Like Gabby Thomas is.
Yeah.
Her coming in this race. This again, I don't think there's gonna be anyone that's gonna challenge Gabby, but I do think this is a chance for Gabby to put down a fast time for the first time in a long time for her, especially in the 200. I'm looking at potentially a 21.9.
You're throwing out all sorts of times.
So I'm saying 21.9 and 19.7 for the men's and women's 200s. That's why it's going to be good. It's not going to be about the victory. It's going to be about the time in those 2 races. So let's hope it's good weather.
And then you want to do, women's high hurdles. Actually, this is actually probably number 1. If we really were doing a draft.
Women's 100 hurdles.
Amusan, Camacho Quinn, Tia Jones, Kenny Harrison, Alicia Johnson, Nia Ali, Tania Marshall, Gabby Cunningham. You got the world record holder. You have Camacho Quinn coming off the windy 12:17. Old world record holder there in Kenny Harrison. A lot of U.S. women who could make the team this year because they're all so close together. The U.S. field's going to be an absolute battle at USA's in Eugene. So this actually might end up being the best one. I want to see Amusan versus Camacho Quinn. That's a great head-to-head right there.
What has Amusan done though since Worlds?
Let's look it up.
Has she run this year? She ran so much. I remember last year we counted like the number of races she ran. She ran like 50 races.
She ran Tom Jones. She ran 100 at Tom Jones and 100 hurdles.
Is she undefeated?
No, she got 2nd at Tom Jones. Ran 12:59. And then she got 4th at Drake.
How is that possible?
Actually, it's interesting. Yeah.
How can the world record holder get 2nd and 4th?
Yeah.
I don't get it. 100 hurdles is so weird.
That's part of it. You just get on a roll and you're like locked into rhythm.
Yeah.
Because she did take some losses early season last year. Didn't end up mattering at all. But then we talked about it when it came time for the Athlete of the Year debate. It's like, should she win? And then the record was 11-10 or something. It's like,
yeah.
If you're factoring in regular season, you can't. You got to put other people ahead of her. That's just the reality.
Yeah, it's like the 8th seed winning the NBA title.
Yeah, it's a great again world champion. She might have been
Jimmy Butler,
one of the performers of the meet. I mean, actually, you'd probably go to Sydney, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, and then men's 15. You got Reynold Chariot who just won, and he won the Continental Tour race, and then you have Timothy Chariot in there, and then for the U.S. some U.S. representation here, Gordon, on U.S. soil. Wait, who do we have? Hold on, I lost my start.
You have Hawker, Drew Hunter, Cooper Tier.
Yeah, Hawker, Tier. It's getting well. We're gonna see Nagoose too in Rabat in a 15 against Ingebrigtsen.
Stop bringing up Rabat. We're talking about the LA Grand Prize. Great prize. LA Great Prize.
Go ahead.
AKA Grand Prix.
Go ahead.
It's not going to be a good race. The 1500 is going to be 3:35. It's not going to be good. I'm just telling you what it is. They're not going to run fast. It's going to be a jog fest. The 1500.
You don't think there's something interesting there from the Hawker tier perspective?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I could like fluff it up, be like, yeah, I can't wait to see that dynamic between
Hawker was awesome.
You know, what this, that, the other thing. Like, I just, for some reason, the mid-distance races, regular season mid-distance racing has become
What do you mean?
unbearable to watch
No, it's become good for the men or the women.
for the men.
No, it's just gotten good the last couple of years because now they run hard.
Regular season.
Yeah, they run hard in the regular season. You got Oliver Hoare out there just like crushing people from the front.
They run hard, but then there's like, you have Oliver Hoare run hard and win races. You're like, oh, Oliver Hoare, he's a guy, and then he goes to Worlds and gets last.
Oh, so you're disappointed about Oliver Hoare didn't get last. He didn't make the final.
He didn't make the final. It's last.
That's not how
Last in the final is not placing in the final.
What?
Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't think Oliver Hoare's like, I got 15.
So you're mad because the regular season results don't match the end of the year.
Yes.
So if it was up to you, if like someone did really good in the regular season, that should matter in like the postseason.
Yeah.
So like if you won the MVP, for example, in the NBA in the regular
it should matter. Yeah. No, but you know what I'm trying to like. We get excited about these races, and we're gonna have someone have a great kick, but you're gonna not really be able to take anything from it because
I think you're forgetting how good Cole Hawker was and how injuries or whatever derailed him.
Yeah.
And if he can get back to where he was 2 years ago, you're going to talk about him as a medal threat again, which is a big deal because the U.S. is on the outside looking in right now. Look at all the countries that we said could medal, from Norway to Kenya to Australia to Great Britain and on and on and on and on. Spain. The U.S. isn't in there, and he was their best hope. Now you have Nagus in there too.
And Tier.
It's just right. So the battle for who makes the team is really interesting in the 15 as well.
Yeah, I just feel like I guess there's 4 Americans here. Hawker and Tier are they're much better than Drew Hunter and Prakel. Prakel can find a way to mix it in, but Tier's been running well, and Hawker, we just don't know where his status is.
That's why I said.
So I guess okay, sure. You talked me into it.
Thank you for dumping on it the entire time. All right, can we talk about Rabat now?
Yeah, let's talk about Rabat.
Guys, this is a good meet.
It's a great podcast.
Gordon's holding his. Are we doing this now?
We're doing this.
Like
this is how we.
This is really heavy.
This is a heavy. How do they do this in all those Instagram reels? Holding the podcast mic like
they
this?
have lighter. They don't have ones with real bases on them.
That's probably what.
These are made of steel.
How far do you think you could throw this? Do you think? How far do you think Ryan
Krauser
could throw this mic?
Oh,
he should do a podcast where
40 meters.
He just throws the podcast mic.
Just how do you think he would? What would be his technique? To the middle?
Yeah, he's just like this.
So he just goes on different podcasts and sees.
It just chucks their mic. Yeah.
Does he buy him a new one?
It's
after?
like like that YouTube. Like, will it blend? Like, will it throw?
Will it break?
Will it throw? He takes it. He throws it.
That'd be a good endorsement though for something this thing is so durable. World record holder Ryan Krauser can't even break it with a throw. He takes things and throws them.
Yeah, it's just things like we should find ways where you have like a rule. Like, what's the weight of a shot? Put the exact weight.
16 for the pros, isn't it?
Yeah, 16. So you give them things that weigh 16 pounds.
Yeah.
And you see like which one that's not a ball can he like get the closest to his world record.
Yeah. This is just awkwardly shaped, so it'd be different.
Yeah.
I mean, it might even maybe a discus thrower could. Well, he threw the disc too,
yeah.
so I think that's the motion I would use. Okay, enough about breaking the equipment in the studio. Rabat, guys.
Mondo Duplantis though is coming back, which is cool.
Well, Mondo and Krauser. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah. Just want to say that.
No, it's a good field. It's a good meet, top to bottom. All right. So men's 100. Do you want to just go event by event, or do you just want me to? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do like 20, 30 seconds lightning round, Rabat. I'll read some names, and then you tell me what you think, okay?
I'm getting the clock out. What are we doing? 30 seconds?
You don't need to know. Not literally 30 seconds.
Well, that's what you said. I listened to when you speak, Kevin. Here we go.
So I'm gonna start with the last event and then work our way to the beginning of the program.
When do I start the clock?
Go ahead right now.
Finish talking?
Yeah, go ahead. So you got men's steeples. You got hometown guy Sofian El Bakali in there. You also have Kiprutu, Keegan, Kibbe Watt, Wale. This is like a legit stacked field. Hillary Bohr for the U.S. I don't know. I mean, is El Bakkali's like reign going to continue? This one's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had any good steeples yet. This will be the first good steeple. You know why? Do you know who's the world leader in the steeple right now?
Who?
Kenneth Rooks of BYU.
Oh, good for him. So that's going to change. Probably.
That's going to change. 8:17.
Hold on to that, Kenneth, for another couple days. All right, women's 800. Mary Mora, Sage Herta, Anita Horvath, who ran the middle, Natoya Gould, Karina Bissett. I think this is just going to be you want to see Mora just like separate herself. Like if you think, hey, can she move up from that third range to maybe 2 and even 1, contending with Hodgkinson and Mo? You want to see her take care of business in a race like this.
I want to change the way we do previewing this segment because I think it should just be like preview or pass.
No, I don't want you just. Then it ends up being 45 seconds long. And you already just ruined it. Now I have to edit all this stuff out.
You don't have to edit it. Keep it in for the people.
Just
for the diehards.
I wanted this. All right, next event.
Because I would
100.
pass.
No, you don't pass on that one. That's a good one. Mary Moore she's fun to watch.
Yeah, we've already seen her though. She's going to run 158, and we'll be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, we've already seen a lot of people. Johan Blake in the 100, Trayvon Bromell, Andre DeGrasse, Marcel Jacobs, Fred Curley, Machi Moore of Morocco, Omanyala, Simbine, and Tobogo.
First of all, Machi Moore of Morocco. He's in for a rude awakening.
10-2-3 PB.
10-23 PB going up against basically the potential world final. Yeah. We talked about this a little bit early in the pod because you were so excited about it, but Curley, Omanyala, Bromell, Jacobs, you can't get any better. Tobogo. Can't get any better than this. Johan Blake, too. I thought he retired. I guess not. He's still one last ride.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's still there.
I thought he was retiring.
No.
No?
Nope. That was a soft foul, but keep going.
I know.
Keep going.
Okay. Stop telling me to keep going. I'm having a conversation.
You're like, let's do lightning round, and then you just all the non sequiturs, man. Johan Blake didn't retire. I don't know what to tell you.
I thought he did.
Just never.
I thought he was like, you know what? He's old. How old is Johan now?
Oh.
How old is Johan?
This
might be his last. Maybe he's retiring after 2024. He's 33. I guess he still has a couple more years in him. Why are you so frustrated?
Let's just do the segment. Go 100. People want to hear about the 100. They don't want to watch you Google how old Johan Blake is. What do you think of this 100-meter race?
I think this is a moment where we will see whether or not Curley is completely separated from the pack. Because if Curley wins handedly, then we're like separated. Curley wins barely, then that pack is on him, and if Curley loses, obviously, then the pack is with him. And I think there's a 51% chance that Curley's either going to win barely or lose. I think there's a more than 50% chance that he does not dominate.
I think he's a significant favorite, and I think it's going to tell us a lot about Omanyala.
Yes.
Omanyala's
the one who's the closest.
He's the one who's been the closest, and he's the one who you want to see him rack up good performances outside of Nairobi. Now, he can do it. He obviously has the capability to do it, and his best chance to run really fast was taken from him last year in Eugene with the visa issue and getting to the meet the morning that it started. That was his best chance to run fast. That's what he peaked for and just didn't have the opportunity. So he could have run fast. We just didn't get to see it. But I think the question that's going to be answered is how close is the gap to Omanyala and Curley? Because Curley's a stand-in basically for the podium. Because you said bronze is his floor. So if you can be close to Fred Curley, that means you're in the medal mix. You can beat him. You can be in the mix for gold. If you're way far off, that means you got work to do. The people I'm not worried about based on results in this thing, I'm not going to worry about or overreact to Trayvon Bromell because season's best or season debut for Bromell. And Jacobs, like this thing got billed as this head-to-head between him and Curley. Now, you could think Jacobs can't factor in for the gold.
Jacobs is going to get like 5th in this race.
Right. And that might actually even be a good result for him based on how good the field is. But people are going to overreact because this whole thing with all the back and forth and stuff. Like, a good result for Jacobs would be, I think, top 3 in this race, and then he can build off of it. It's not going to define his season, the fact that he's debuting here. Curley is sharp. Curley's ready to go. I think Curley's going to roll. And I'd also look out for Tobogo because he's been running really well early season for Botswana.
Yeah, and, I know we were making jokes about Blake being retired, but he did.
You made the jokes. I didn't make the joke. Go ahead.
I was making a joke about him being retired. He did run one very quick 100 last year in the regular season.
Yeah, he did. Right.
So he does have still that flash in the pan available. So maybe he gives us a flash in the pan and he runs like a top 3 performance here. And that gets us excited. Be like, oh, we're talking about Seville and Blake. Meanwhile, Johan Blake is the one who potentially could be the guy to break up the U.S. top 3.
Let's move now to the men's 1500.
This is a good race.
Jakob Ingebrigtsen,
I'm excited
Jared
about this
Naguse, Oliver Hoare, Mario Garcia. A lot of talent here. Charles Samatwo, he's run 3:30. PRs are quick. I think you just want, and a lot of these guys haven't really run, and if they have, they've been off distance. So Naguse and Jakob was the story indoors. They didn't run against each other, but they ran dueling fast times, and now we're going to get to see them head-to-head. I think Ingebrigtsen is the favorite. Obviously, should be the favorite. But I want to see how much of indoor Naguse are we going to see outdoors. That's what I want to know.
I think Naguse isn't going to be as good as we think he's going to be. I think first, it's not. It's
He
like,
ran an 8.
But he ran that. This is his first race overseas, though, right?
No, he ran you mean ever or
No, like
outdoors?
Outdoors.
Yeah, he ran the 8 in the U.S., but during indoors, he ran
So I'm just
Madrid
saying, like
1500.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm talking about outdoors.
Outdoors, he's only run an 800 at Mount Sac.
I just feel like he's more likely to give us a dud on this first one and then give us a better one on the number 2 race if he runs another Diamond League a week later. That's what I'm thinking.
He ran 3 races indoors. He's run 1 race outdoors.
Yeah,
that's it.
So I just feel like he's not going to be the true form of the way we saw Naguse at like Milrose type Naguse. So
But that was early season too.
Yeah,
early indoor season.
I don't know. I just feel like Naguse isn't going to be as good as we think he's going to be. I think he needs to have a couple more races in him before he truly can challenge Jakob.
But Jakob's 1500 debut too.
Yeah, but Jakob is so much better, and like it's really hard to be for Jakob to be off his game. Like there's got to be a plague for him to be off his game.
He was sick that one time. Remember?
Exactly, a plague.
Yeah, he always seems dialed in.
He's dialed in. He's never off. He's always on.
Okay.
So I think Jakob wins this cakewalk.
What about Hoare? You think Hoare could factor in? I mean, he's been running well.
He'll be in it, but no, it's gonna be cakewalk Jakob.
Okay.
Jakob will win by 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Or 1 second.
I'll take the under on that.
1.5 seconds.
Women's 200, Sherika Jackson. She's the headliner. Tamar Davis just had a good 100-meter win for the U.S., but Jackson versus the clock here. What do you think?
I don't know. 200? It's probably going to be like a 22-0. I feel like all these the top 200
Is everybody just going to run 22-0
they're all
this
gonna
year?
run 22-0. It's the year of the 22-0.
No one's going to run anything fast. So she ran, I thought she ran 200 this weekend, but it's not showing up on the results. 100 in Doha, the 1085, but now she's getting back to her.
22-0. 22-02.
2202.
22-02.
Very specific.
Yep. That's what she's going to run.
Let's see. Men's quarter. Let's just go. Gardner again. He ran well. He got the win in Bermuda. He just looks so, I forgot how effortless he looks. Last 100, everybody's just tying up, doing 400-meter face, and he's tiring.
What's 400-meter face?
Like, like that. Like you're trying so hard to stay calm, but we can tell.
Like you feel like you're running into like a plus 10 headwind.
Yeah, we can tell that it's not easy for you. But Gardner, just the way his stride is and how he just stays so composed, I was impressed. Women's 15. Hailu. No Kipyegon, unfortunately. This next one's good. Men's high hurdles. Devin Allen, Rashid Broadbell, Grant Holloway, Hansel Parchment, Pascal Martin Odegaard. Pereira ran Devin Allen to the line at Penn Relays. But you got Holloway versus the two of them. Jamaica's deep in the high hurdles. We talked about that before. But 2 of the main guys from Jamaica who can beat him are in this race.
Yeah, and Holloway's coming off of that street meet where he ran. He broke 13, right? Or did he run 13?
No, 13-0.
13-0. So
13-3.
Holloway kind of still is the king, and it's going to take a lot for him to be dethroned. Even a loss here doesn't dethrone him, in my opinion, but I don't see him losing. The person I'm excited to watch is Devin Allen. Yes, he got the win at Penn Relays, but the conditions weren't good. He didn't run that fast. It was a really tight race. His first race back. We all want to know, like, we never got to see the true Devin Allen because of the bullshit false start thing that happened in Eugene. So this is a chance for him to have a solid race against the world championship final type competition. If Devin Allen can come in here and get a competitive second to Holloway, run 13-0 to Holloway's 12-9, gets you excited that maybe Allen will get a real second shot at trying to dethrone Grant in Budapest.
I think this is a good opportunity for Grant because he kind of fell into that thing I was talking about earlier with Richardson where it became, hey, what amazing performance are you going to do
Winning
next?
didn't matter anymore.
Winning was just assumed, and then it was all about the time.
Yeah.
But now you look at that field, just get a win. Just get a win. And I know it gets cliche, and then when someone's really good, they talk about just getting wins. Like, no, dude, you wanted the world record. You wanted the American record. But in this case, I think it's just about wins at this point because those guys have beaten him. Both of them have beaten him in big spots, too. Men's 8. I know we should talk about that because you love it. Career, Kinyamal, Wanyoni. Could be the hope. Could be the hope. He ran the 143 last time. And A-Rob. This is actually a good field.
Mula's in it.
And your guy Mula. That one's good. And what's it for?
Yeah, we can't preview 800s.
No.
We're not allowed. We're allowed to react to them.
No, yeah, exactly.
Can't preview.
Contractual obligations. And then got a women's 4-meter hurdle race in there as well. All right, we got to keep it moving, though, because we only have a few minutes left.
We have time.
Well, I want to – so are you still doing your surprise thing?
Yeah, but we got to keep going on your little run of show here.
Okay. Do you want to do them now? And then
No, you go first.
I kind of want to get your stuff out of the way.
No,
you
you
know
go
how much
first.
time's left.
No, just let's talk about Athing Mu and Sydney McLaughlin.
Okay, so we talked about the LA Grand Prix. A lot of stories about Sydney withdrawing from the meet. I feel like it's already been said. All that's been litigated and relitigated. We don't need to go into that again unless you want to. But I thought the interesting quote from an article in the Orange County Register, Bobby Kersey, Mo's coach, talked about the possibility of an 8:15 double, which everybody was thinking if there was any double on the table, or triple, I guess, if you're talking about the 4x4, although they keep making the schedule, so Athing Mu can't run the 4x4. Shame on you. Shame on you, schedule makers. 4.8, because she's amazing in the 400. She's NCAA champion in the 400. Every day she walks around is a day where Athing Mu is probably one of the 3 fastest women in the world in the 400, right? She walks down the street to get a cup of coffee. She's one of the top 3 women in the 400, goes to bed, walks her dog, all that stuff. She's top 3 woman in the 400. Probably the floor is 3. There's probably some days where she's the best. So everybody thought 4.8, but Kersey's talking 8:15. I have to admit, it caught me off guard, and I don't know if we're reading too much into this.
We are reading way too much into this.
Is what he's saying just she's going to run some 15s just to get into shape?
Yes, that's all he's saying.
But
there is no, I'm running the 8:15 double, that's my goal. That is not.
It says Kersey also raised the possibility of Mo attempting next summer to become the first woman to sweep the Olympic 15 and 8 gold medals since Great Britain's Kelly Holmes did it.
Did he say it? He didn't say that. What did he say? What was his quote?
The 8:15 and 4.8 has been done, and I think Athing has the ability, and I think if the schedule allows, it'd be nice to see for a woman to double the 8:15 at a very high level with the potential to gold medal in both.
Yeah, that says, I have a really talented athlete. I think she could do it, but he never says we're trying to do it.
Yeah.
He's just he knows he has a great athlete. Yeah, I think she could do it. Yeah. Are we going to do it? No.
Okay. Absolutely not. You know? Listen, as I mentioned.
There was 0 quotes from Bobby Kersey that implied that she was doing a 15-800 double at the global championship level.
Well,
0 quotes.
It depends how much you want to read into it. And I guess it depends on it's one of those things where you want to listen and you want to see like his facial expressions. And if you had talked to him for a long time, you can kind of tell, okay, is this serious or not? I think, first of all, I'd love to know Athing Mu's viewpoint on whether or not she wants to run the 15. Last winter, she did pretty good. And then she went into that Milrose mile, remember?
Yeah.
And was with the really, really hard pack and then fell off. I still thought it was pretty cool just to see her go for it time and time again. But she's not one of the top 3 women in the world in the 1500 as well. She shouldn't. That would be crazy to be top 3 in the world in the 4, 8, and the 15. So it would be such a uphill climb.
This is just like when Donovan Brazier ran a couple 1500s.
That's what you think.
That's all it is.
So how this started is he said she's going to run the 15 at USA's. Yeah. She has the 800 meter.
Yeah.
box.
So she's going to do something. She has to run in order to be qualified.
Right. So she's got to do something and basically saying she's doing the 15. And
she's doing a workout in front of everyone.
The follow-up was probably, okay, well, why not the 4? And then he started talking about, well, he talks about how he thinks to get the world record in the 8, she needs to improve on the distance side of things. And
sure.
That's his way to. That's his
None
way
of
to
that says I'm doing an 8:15 double.
So you don't think this is going to happen?
0% chance she does an 8:15 double. 0%.
Definitively answered by one.
Yeah.
Mac.
It was we just all creating it because we want content. So we hear a coach say, "Yeah, I think she could do it," as in we are planning to do it. You know, I think is
again, the quote says, it would be nice to see for a woman to double the 8 and 15 at a very high level with the potential to gold medal both.
When I see a woman, did he say Athing Mu?
Well, I just think that she has that anaerobic threshold and being able to hold over that and take the 800 out at a decent speed, that's going to allow her to get to 153. He talks about she needs to be at 359 or better to really get the benefit out of the 1500.
Yeah.
The problem is here, and it's good that he put a number on it. If she ran 359, that would be a crazy accomplishment. But if she ran 359, she's not still
352.
Right. That's not equivalent to how fast she is in the 400.
Yeah.
She's equivalent to basically a 351 runner in the 400 as it pertains to the global
real thing
pecking
is
order.
he doesn't want Athing racing Sydney in the
Well, that's the last quote here of this article.
Which is
no. Kersey said when asked about the potential 400 matchup, no, they train together enough. Racing them together is not needed. Particularly for me.
Not needed.
It would not make any sense for me to put them together. And I'm like, hey, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about everybody else.
It makes no sense that having 2 women who could flirt with the world record. You know what? Because they both are under my tutelage, I'm not going to let them do that. That's so stupid. It's overthinking it. It's forgetting that we're doing a sport. This isn't like some science project where you have to perfectly manipulate mental and physical perfect matchup that if they race against each other, it's going to screw up one because one's going to lose to the other, and then confidence goes down, and then it messes the whole thing up. They're grown. They're adults. They can handle losing. You got let them race each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a lot of group coaches do this too. Where NOP, they had rarely a lot of the same country and athlete event. So the reason why Galen and Mo could be training partners is because they never had to compete against each other until the final race.
Yeah. And
they never wanted to have 3 people all doing the same event. And you can see it kind of probably, Bowerman was probably one of the first to try to get multiple people in the same event.
Let's try to get 3 in every
and
event.
It can cause a little bit of, I understand that. They don't like it when their teammates are actual competition.
Sean says he wants 2 golden athletes, not 1. I get it from that perspective. It's hey, this is a group. We're trying to maximize the gold medals. The problem is your examples, they're accurate historically, but they sell it short too because NOP didn't have 2 people with the chance to break the world record, 2 completely transcendent athletes who in their second best distance, everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
No, people are clamoring for this. People obviously want to see them run. And the way he talks about it, we won't even see it in a low-key meet. He talks about it at practice. Well, they don't sell tickets to practice.
Yeah.
So do you over under 0.5 in their career times they race?
In the 400?
Yeah.
Oh, they will never race.
They'll never race. That's
guarantee you. As long as they're both being coached by Kersey, they'll never race.
Yeah. I think the natural order of things says that at one point, one of them will have a different coach.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I can even see in that situation, one will pull out. They will never race each other in their primes.
Yeah.
The only time they will race each other is when one is not in the prime. Because that's what track and field is.
Yeah. Well, remember the whole Bolt Blake thing?
Yeah.
And that was silly. Right? That was same coach, right?
Yeah.
And then they're let's not. And that was, they only had one place to go. See, this is a thing's got the 800, City's got the hurdle. There's places where they can go. And if you're talking about putting a thing in a 50, a thing you can credibly make, it would be a bummer, and it will be a bummer to not have her in the quarter at USA's. But it's like a credible decision to say we wanted to run the 15, right?
Sure.
And it is in some regard, like I'll have fun watching that if she makes the final. I think she will make the final, but it'll be kind of fun seeing her like match up with the best 1500 meter women in the U.S. Like that's kind of fun. But like when Bolt and Blake, they had nowhere to. They were the 100 and 200 runners. There was like nowhere for them to go, so they just like wouldn't race. And then we were told that was good for the sport.
I'm gonna make a prediction. I think Sydney's only gonna run the first round of the 400.
Yeah, you don't need to. Well,
You have to run one round.
what's the waiver thing came in last year? But did that waived you for the whole?
I think she's
competition,
gonna
right?
run the first round of the 400, do an interview,
And then that's
and
it.
then not show up on the second heat, and then everyone's going to be asking for the coach's quote. The coach will be like, yeah, we just feel like it's best
Yeah.
for her not to go through this, and then everyone's going to be like, oh, we thought we were going to see Britton Wilson versus Sydney, and we never got it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's going to happen.
Anybody can do that as a defending champion.
Yeah.
Right. I thought the new rule was you had to go all the way through unless you had the. I guess you just get the.
She has to buy. She's not trying to.
I know, but what did Muhammad? Remember, she had to buy But did she scratch the whole meet and then she had to get the medical exemption? There was a medical waiver
They'll
thing.
get the medical
Yeah,
exemption.
yeah.
They're not going to deny Sydney the medical exemption.
No, I'm just saying, is that a hoop that they have to jump through now? I don't know.
That's what's going to happen.
Okay. All right. I think we're ready for your thing, right? Or no?
No.
When we're over by a minute, go.
Why are you so harsh on the
Nico's got to
time?
go. He's got to pick up his kids.
At 1:30?
That was a joke. That was a bit. We were talking about it before.
Okay.
That was a joke for one person. Shout out to Nico.
This isn't what I was going to talk about because this is in the Runner show.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm gonna be over here.
World Athletics just announced a new qualifying process for the distance events at Worlds this year. So Nico, I put a screenshot in the Runner show. You can bring that up. Basically, in the 1500, the 3K steeple, and the 5K, the way you qualify from a prelim to a final or from a semifinal to a final was there was the top 4 or 5 finishers and then like the small queue, people who qualify on time. They're getting rid of that. There are no more time qualifiers anymore in distance events. So for the 1500, let's talk about going from semifinals to finals.
Yeah.
It used to be top 5 in each heat and the next 2 fastest times. Now it's just going to be top 6 in each heat. So no fastest times.
Yeah.
Steeple. It used to be top 3 in each heat, then the next 6 fastest times. Now it's just top 5 in each heat.
Cool.
So they're making it so time doesn't matter, which I like and hate. I like it because it gives no competitive advantage to knowing what the time is by going second. So they went out fast or they went out slow, you were good. However, I do hate it though because sometimes the heats are not evenly distributed, and there could be a situation where, based off of the way people qualify from the first round to the semifinal, it gets a little screwed up. Because the first round, that's going to be pretty even because it's going to be all on seed times, and everyone's seed times are going to be pretty honest. But from prelim to semifinal, there could be like a Jakob Ingebrigtsen who just occasionally finishes 4th. All the best people finish the even slot, and then all the best people end up in one semifinal.
You're worried about Jakob getting top 8
No, I'm just worried about.
or top
I'm worried about
6?
6 of the 6 best athletes all being in one semifinal.
Here's a solution: run faster.
You know that I was thinking about that.
But here's the problem. I'll argue against myself here, and it's also the reason why I like this system as opposed to the old system. It was luck. It wasn't merit.
Yeah, that's true.
It was just you happened to be in the faster section, and which still wasn't fast because you ran 13:35 instead of the other section that jogged ran 13:45. So you got the extra qualifiers in
you
your
got
heat.
2 extra.
So
spots,
it was
yeah.
all just, and then waiting to see who gets in, who gets out. Just make it straight up, clear cut. This number's in, this number's out.
Especially in the 5K, because the 5K was 5 time qualifiers. So it's basically one heat got 10 and one heat got 5.
Exactly, and it was all.
It was always 10 and 5. 10
now
and 5.
you could say, hey, I can go to the race and I can go to the front of the race. I can control it. I can make sure. But then everybody else is benefiting from that.
Yeah.
And by extension, everybody else in the other heat is getting penalized for that because they didn't have that person. Now you can say, okay, you could be that person. But I understand what you're saying. My whole thing is you just eventually you gotta draw a line. And if you're talking about being worried that a semi is going to be stacked, you're still getting 6 out of that semi.
But
so
you
that
know what you
semi's
could
got to
do
be sacked.
to get the best of both worlds? You make it so there's no time qualifiers, but then you do have if you run faster than this time, you get in.
Get in automatically.
So imagine if like Heat 1, the 7th place finisher runs 3:29.
That would be something. Is it in Monaco?
Right? I don't know. But like you'd be like, that person deserves to make the final, whereas the 6th place finisher in the other heat runs 3:35. You're like, guy ran freaking 3:29. We should be make like a time where like even if you're outside your
super qualifier.
A super qualifying time where if you want it, you can finish dead last, but if you break the world record finishing dead last, you go on to the final.
Well, I think if you break the world record, you'd make it anyway because you'd probably be in the top 6.
Not if all 9 people ahead of you also broke the world record.
Everybody drafts. I like that. You'd have to work to figure out what
They do that in throwing qualifying.
Yeah.
If you throw it over a certain mark, you're in no matter what.
Yeah, and that shortens the process too because one throw and then you're not sitting
done.
around and waiting. You get on the.
Because then it'd be like,
bus.
all right, yes, sure, you get screwed over if you're in a deep heat, but you control. Everyone can then controls their own destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no,
you just have to make the time really fast.
I just like that. They were pretending like it was a sprint situation where everybody was going full out, and
it's not. Yeah.
And it was you advanced on merit. A lot of this was luck. It wasn't merit. Now there is some luck in the sprints with wind readings, but in general, you could get the most deserving group. All right, what do you got?
Well, I want to talk about NCAA's prelims.
That's your big reveal. All right, go ahead.
Well, there's a notable doubles. Caitlin Tui doing the 5K 15. We haven't seen that in a while.
Hold on. Pause for a second before we go into this. Are we sure they're doubles? Like, are we sure these are the final? Because they have to still run regionals, right? Or first round, whatever.
They have.
But could they scratch?
I'm not sure exactly what the scratch rule is. I think you only can scratch. Once you scratch, you're done for the meet.
Okay, so injuries.
So you only can scratch the last race. You can't scratch.
Yeah.
If say like you sign up for 3 races, you win 1, you can't scratch the second race and then come back for the 3rd. Makes sense. Anyway,
start over. Sorry, go ahead.
Caitlin Tui doing a 15 5K double. I didn't think she was actually going to do a double, but she's doing double. She's the favorite in both. I like her chances in both. Mm-hmm. But the main double that we thought was not happening.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to happen. Britton Wilson, 400 hurdles, 400 double. It's 30 minutes difference when you get to the finals in Austin. But when you look into it, it actually might be possible because she is so much better than the second best 400 hurdler. She's like 2 seconds better.
And that one comes
I think that's
second.
That one's second.
The harder one is first.
And even the other one that she has better competition, she's also like a whole second better. She's run 49.1.
Yeah.
She could give a 80%, 70% effort.
Yeah.
And win both.
She's just start her cool down, like 50 meters to go, and then get ready. Run right to get a drink of water, and then just lay down. I think what it would take off the table, though, was a record, the NCAA record, which would be fun for her to chase. I'm surprised they went this route.
Yeah.
Hats off to them for doing it, though.
What's more impressive, her breaking Sydney's record or winning the 4 in the 400 hurdles?
Oh, 4 in the 400 hurdles.
Yeah, it's never been done.
The gap, because she could go and, I don't know, wins her deadline. The USA's performances don't count, right?
Yeah.
For collegiate, but I think she could do it. Maybe she does it at regionals. I don't know. I mean, she runs collegiate records in prelims, so who's to say she couldn't do it at regionals? I was surprised she's doing this. I thought they'd go 400 hurdles and then mix and match it with the 400. I think it's cool. I mean, when great athletes are going to challenge themselves, we're going to watch. I mean, that's just it, right? She's come up with this incredible, ambitious plan. This is like shades of Anna Hall last year. I mean, also you want to go global. You look at Savannah Son and what she did, where it's just like, this one is too easy.
Yeah.
How do I add on to this?
And you know who's the biggest benefactor of this is Arkansas's 5th best 400 meter runner, because now she's definitely running on that 4x4, at least in the prelims.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they're going to tell Britton Wilson, hey, you just ran the 4 in the 400 hurdles on prelim day. Can you also like run our 4x4 for us? They're going to be like, we'll get you in the 4x4 final. We're not going to ask you to run 3 400s in one day.
And that would be tough.
So how about that? NCAA rankings are updated. You tweeted out the graphic.
I did a great job of that.
You know.
almost.
Some say.
Arkansas men.
Arkansas men with 60 points. Georgia 44. Florida and Texas Tech with 40, and Tennessee 5th with 39. So there's a chance for Arkansas to lose because 16-point lead can go after a couple. What you thought we'd get first, you get third. That's 4 points. You do that a couple more times, boom, you're not winning. But Arkansas, I think, is the heavy favorites there. On the women's side, Texas women, 90 points to Florida's 49. Arkansas, 42 points.
Yeah.
So Texas.
Big favorite at home.
They're at home. It would be kind of cool if Coach Flum, he's been so close to getting the women to win the title, and every year it's second place or third place or second or third. If they don't do it here, it's never happening. I mean, they're going to do it. I mean, they would need like 5 false starts to happen. Knock on wood. Hopefully no false starts happen in prelims, but they're looking to dominate. And NC State, the distance squad on women, I have them finishing 5th with 34 points and Oregon 4th with 38 points. Oregon on the back of field events. Yeah. NC State on the back of Tui and Camille and Samantha Bush. So it might be a little interesting who gets that 4th podium spot. But yeah, prelims are this weekend. It's a 4-day meet instead of a 3-day meet. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They spread it out.
Okay.
To match it with NCAA's.
Gotcha.
Check out the rankings. I updated them. That's all I had to say.
It's good. Good additions.
Yeah.
The chat, if anybody in the chat's got anything, 2 more minutes. Keep it up for 2 minutes.
You open it up for the chat. So I wanted to extend, and you're like, Gordon,
I check in the chat, and they get mad, like, oh, you're not talking about the chat enough. And it's hard. Honestly, it's hard for me to, like, respond and do the show at the same time. It's hard. I admit it's a shortcoming of mine. Sometimes it's easier than other times. But if people got questions, comments, takes, we can do it now. We'll be back next Monday. So we'll review. Rabat is on Sunday, so we'll get a show up within about 24 hours. It's pretty good. It's exciting, right? This is instant.
Yeah, who would have? Doing a show 24 hours after an event?
Yeah.
You
don't need to wait for the newspaper to come out the next day. You can see the results.
I'll be doing the show from.
Oh, you'll be gone.
Duluth, Minnesota.
Right, but you're gonna get good internet connection, right? Nico, Gordon's gonna be remote next week. Is that doable? I'll be here. Oh, Nico, not confident. That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Next podcast is sponsored, which we'll reveal on Monday.
That's good. Good job. Good job by you. Yeah. So
not buy Gooder sunglasses. Which
Gordon is
I
wearing.
Still wear.
Yeah.
Even though they don't sponsor us anymore.
You gonna take those off?
These are good.
Joel says I'm still mad about the Timothy Cherry disrespect from earlier. Yeah, me too. Gordon discounting.
What's disrespect?
You're like, I don't want to watch that men's 1500
I don't.
Grand Prix. And you got Reynolds Chariot too. You got 2
chariots. Do you want to watch
Chariots.
Chariot run against 5 other people?
Yeah, it depends who the 5 other people are.
It's gonna be a shitty 334, 333 race.
Oh, it's gonna be good. That will be the race of the year.
See, now you're realizing when you make statements just to one up.
You're like, I'm not interested in Cole Hawker and Cooper Tier running,
I'm not, because I know the stakes of the race. The race doesn't have any stakes. I know that they're probably going into it like just another.
What if? Never mind. I'm not gonna argue with you about it again.
Why not argue? Embrace debate, man. Embrace debate.
AJT says, I don't get why Bobby wants a thing to run the mixed and women's 4x4 when the women's 4x4 final is like an hour apart from the 800 final, and she barely won last year. So let me just talk about the mixed 4x4 because nobody talks about it. I brought it up last year because there's a very clear time that you need to run to win this thing because it's been the winning time basically the 3 times that they've had it. And you can do the math for the U.S. and you can figure out what people you would need to put on it in order to get that winning time. They didn't do it last year. They didn't do it last year. They did the same thing they always do, and they lost again. And I thought, because it was going to be Felix's swan song, didn't ultimately end up being Felix's swan song. She came back for the 4x4. I thought someone would say, please, let me on this relay so I can win Allison Felix one more gold medal. I thought people would be jumping at the chance to do that. And they didn't. And nobody did. And the same thing happened. So the idea of a Thingmo or anybody, any of those top tier, those first stringers running it, I'm all for the U.S. because it's ridiculous that they're not winning this. It's silly. But it's
pride. It's like
deserved.
Pride.
Yeah. Oh,
they're
I don't want to be on that.
Oh, yeah. I don't care more about individual stuff.
And all it's going to take is one superstar doing it. Like,
and then they all want to do it.
I hope a Thingmo does. I hope she's the one to do it.
And everyone's going to be like, oh, shoot, I kind of want to be on that thing.
Yeah.
If a Thingmo does it, then all of a sudden Norman, It's gonna be like, I want to be on it,
Yeah.
and then like Rye's gonna be like, I want to do it,
Yeah.
and then the thing's like, hey, Sydney, do it.
I just don't. It's a gold medal. It counts. Win another gold medal. Again, it has the least amount of history of any of the other events, and I think it's a little bit superfluous compared to the other event. But they're having it, and the U.S. keeps losing. Go win it.
Go win it.
Win it.
Win it for the skipper.
Or have Poland and Dominican Republic keep crushing. I don't care. But you know now what it takes to win that race, and you know that you have the athletes to do it. And I get it. Some people, they have a race the next day. That's fine. But there's other people who aren't racing for 4 or 5 days. Go run a 90% effort and secure the gold. That's all it would take. Sorry. Why only one pod, guys? Thomas asks. Gordon?
You want to answer that question?
Not our decision.
Not our decision.
Not our call. But we're going longer on Mondays, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe this will turn into like hour and a half.
We're still going to do live pods after NCAAs and USAs.
Yeah, so we'll have 2 or 3 for NCAAs, which is in 2 weeks, and then USAs.
Like that
are we going to go all 4?
All 4, yeah. 3 or 4
Are we going to do them here, or are we going to?
I don't know. To be determined.
TBD.
Maybe from Duluth, Minnesota, where I'll be. Maybe
just
maybe I'll move there.
Good luck with that.
Are you excited? I'm excited. Have you ever been to Minnesota?
I haven't, actually. It's one of the few states.
I'm going to go to the Mall of America. I'm going to have a great time.
I think, is that overrated?
Mall of America? Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's got to be overrated.
It's just a mini amusement park with giant glass ceiling.
And then a hot dog on a stick.
Yeah.
Like,
And you'd be like, oh, I'm in a mall. And I'm in America.
Did you watch Succession last night?
I did.
We'll break that down next episode.
We'll break that down.
On the game, Brooke Anderson. Massive PB, 80.17 women's hammer at the USATF Throws Fest. Only the 3rd woman to ever cross 80 meters. You're getting into Wolarchuk territory there. And Anita Wolarchuk owning the all-time list. But shout out to Brooke Anderson. U.S. women's throws is on fire, man. Shot, disc, javelin, hammer. They're crushing it. So we'll leave it there.
Like and subscribe.
Thanks to everybody for commenting and chit-chatting.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Oh, Joel says Anna Hall heptathlon opener this week. There's a lot going on, man. This might be the best weekend of track and field yet. Thanks, Nico. Talk to you guys later.